"Eat, friend wanderer," said the emperor cordially, "and I trust the feast will be to your liking. I myself do not eat, being made in such manner that I require no food to keep me alive. Neither does my friend the Scarecrow. But all my Winky people eat, being formed of flesh as you are, and so my tin cupboard is never bare, and strangers are always welcome to whatever it contains." The boy ate in silence for a time, being really hungry. But after his appetite was somewhat satisfied, he said,
"How happened your majesty to be made of tin and still be alive?"
"That," replied the Tin Man, "is a long story."
"The longer the better," said the boy. "Won't you please tell me the story?"
"If you desire it," promised the Tin Woodman, leaning back in his tin throne and crossing his tin legs. "I haven't related my history in a long while, because everyone here knows it nearly as well as I do. But you, being a stranger, are no doubt curious to learn how I became so beautiful and prosperous. So I will recite for your benefit my strange adventures."
"Thank you,"
said Woot the Wanderer, still eating. "I was not always made of tin," began the emperor. "For in the beginning I was a man of flesh and bone and blood, and lived in the Munchkin Country of Oz. There I was by trade a woodchopper, and contributed my share to the comfort of the Oz people by chopping up the trees of the forest to make firewood, with which the women would cook their meals, while the children warmed themselves about the fires. For my home I had a little hut by the edge of the forest, and my life was one of much content until I fell in love with a beautiful Munchkin girl who lived not far away."
"What was the Munchkin girl's name?" asked Woot.
"Nimmie Amee. This girl, so fair that the sunsets blushed when their rays fell upon her, lived with a powerful witch who wore silver shoes and who had made the poor child her slave. Nimmie Amee was obliged to work from morning till night for the old witch of the East, scrubbing and sweeping her hut and cleaning her meals and washing her dishes. She had to cut firewood, too, until I found her one day in the forest and fell in love with her. After that, I always brought plenty of firewood to Nimmie Amee, and we became very friendly. Finally, I asked her to marry me, and she agreed to do so. But the witch happened to overhear our conversation, and it made her very angry, for she did not wish her slave to be taken away from her. The witch commanded me never to come near Nimmie Amee again, but I told her I was my own master and would do as I pleased, not realizing this was a careless way to speak to a witch. The next day, as I was cutting wood in the forest, the cruel witch enchanted my axe so that it slipped and cut off my right leg."
"How dreadful!" cried Woot the Wanderer.
"Yes, it was a seeming misfortune," agreed the Tin Man, "for a one-legged woodchopper is of little use in his trade. But I would not allow the witch to conquer me so easily. I knew a very skilled mechanic at the other side of the forest who was my friend, so I hopped on one leg to him and asked him to help me. He soon made me a new leg out of tin and fastened it cleverly to my meat body. It had joints at the knee and at the ankle, and was almost as comfortable as the leg I had lost."
"Your friend must have been a wonderful workman," exclaimed Woot.
"He was, indeed," admitted the emperor. "He was a tinsmith by trade, and could make anything out of tin. When I returned to Nimmie Amee, the girl was delighted and threw her arms around my neck and kissed me, declaring she was proud of me. The witch saw the kiss and was more angry than before. When I went to work in the forest next day, my axe, being still enchanted, slipped and cut off my other leg. Again I hopped, on my tin leg, to my friend the tinsmith, who kindly made me another tin leg and fastened it to my body. So I returned joyfully to Nimmie Amee, who was much pleased with my glittering legs, and promised that when we were wed she would always keep them oiled and polished. But the witch was more furious than ever, and as soon as I raised my axe to chop, it twisted around and cut off one of my arms. The tinsmith made me a tin arm, and I was not much worried, because Nimmie Amee declared she still loved me.